Chapter 33, Working Out What Matters. There are some simple exercises you can do to get some clarity on your values as they are today. It is worth noting that values do change over time depending on our stage of life and what we are facing. Not only do our values change, but so do our actions and their alignment to those values. Life happens, and when we change or struggle, we can get pulled in a new direction away from what matters. So it is helpful to make time for a value check-in every now and then and reevaluate. It is a way of checking the compass and the map at the same time. Which way am I heading? Do I want to be going in that direction? If not, how can I adjust my direction to head back towards what matters most to me? So figure 11 to start gives a couple of examples of the distinction between the values and the goals that may be in line with those values and how they may translate into everyday actions. So you have values, so lifelong learning, curiosity, personal growth. Your goals is educational courses, and then the day-to-day behaviors that you get to achieve that. Reading, studying, changing self with exams. Oh, challenging self with exams or performances that push and expand those skills and promote learning. So other values are love and compassion for others. And then the goal is to remember special dates for loved ones and to visit relatives at certain times. The day-to-day behaviors, expressing love and compassion in small ways every day. Writing down dates of birthdays and anniversaries, making time to spend with loved ones, and helping an elderly neighbor across the road. Crush them.
What?
I don't know. So in the spare tools section at the back of the book, you'll find a blank grid that you can use to reflect on what values most in each area of your life. The examples listed in the boxes are just starting points. You don't have to follow these exact ones. Feel free to change them for the values and goals that most fit for you. In each box, try to reflect on what values are most important to you in this area of your life. Here is a list of prompts that can help. What kind of person would you most like to be in this area of your life? What do you stand for? What do you want your efforts to represent? What contribution do you want to make? What qualities or attitude do you want to bring in this area of your life? So you got relationships, parenting, learning and development, health, spirituality and faith, pleasure and play.
Why'd you say it like that?
I was thinking of Do Where's My Car?
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Creativity, contribution, and work. The key part of this exercise comes after you have listed your values in each box. In ACT therapy, we ask individuals to rate how important each set of values are on a scale of 1 to 10. On this scale, 10 would be the highest importance and 0 not at all. We then ask people to rate how closely they feel they are living in line with those values on each scale. We then spend time looking at the difference between the rating of importance and the rating of how closely they are living in line with it. If that difference is large, then it can indicate that you are being pulled away from living in line with what matters most to you. For example, if you identify that you are looking after your health and looking after your body is one of the highest of importance to you at 10 out of 10, but you rate how low you are living in line with just 2 out of 10 because you have been eating poorly and stopped exercising. Then that gives you the prompt to look at making some positive changes in that area of your life. All this does is give you an indication of areas of your life to turn towards. It is a great way to get a bird's eye view on some competing priorities in our lives. It doesn't dictate that what we should do or how to do it. It just offers us a map, an overview of things as they are now. From there, we get to choose what action we bring ourselves closer to the path that we want to be on. Crucially, this exercise is not at all about the problems that we face and the pleasant or painful emotions that we encounter every day. It is about the meaning we find in both the toughest and easiest days. It does not ask us to wait until everything is fine before we start living as the kind of person that we want to be. It gets us thinking about how we consciously choose to live by our values, whatever is going on around us. Once you have identified a few of the most important aspects of your life and your values in that area, we can simply use this exercise to check in and see how closely you are living in line with your values at that moment. The exercise was originally designed by a Swedish ACT therapist named Tobias Lundgren. This is my own adaptation that I'd like to use myself. The star shape has 6 measures, one of each point of the star. Label each measure with a domain of your life that is especially important to you. On a scale of 1 to 10, mark a cross that represents how much you are currently living in line with your values in its area. For example, you may feel that you have not been prioritizing your health in a way that you would like, so you give it a 5 out of 10. But in your relationships, you might feel that you are living pretty closely in line with the kind of partner you want to be, so you give that a 9 out of 10. Once you have been giving them all a mark, you can draw the lines to join the marks and see how your star takes shape. If the star is uneven, the shorter points are the areas that you need your attention. You'll find the blank value stars that you can fill in at the back of the book in the spare tools section. It can be easy to feel confused about how much our values represent our own wishes and how they are dictated by the expectation of others. This is an important issue to clarify. It is not to say that our sense of duty and commitment to our family and community is not important, or that we should not choose it. By working on our values that are truly our own, and which ones feel imposed, can reveal why certain aspects of our life might feel less fulfilling or disconnected. So try this. Another way to do a more regular values check-in is to incorporate it into journaling or some simple self-reflection. Here are some few questions to help prompt that reflection. I'd like to use both personally and with others in therapy when exploring values. Alright, so questions to explore. If you were to look back on this next chapter of your life and feel proud in the content with how you faced life challenges, how would you be approaching daily life? What would the next chapter look like? In your answer, try to focus on your own choices, actions, and attitude, not other people, events that are out of your control. So try to consider how you would approach life, whatever happens. Number 2, what do you want to stand for in your relationship with yourself, your health, and personal growth? What is important to you about these? What kind of person do you want to be for the people in your life? How do you want to interact with them and contribute to their lives? How do you want the people in your life to feel when you are around? What do you want to represent in your circle of family and friends? If you only get to live once, what impact do you want to have while you are here? If no one knew how you would spend your time, would you still be doing this? As you move forward through this day or week, what is one value that you will try to bring to each choice and action? Examples here might be today I choose to bring enthusiasm, courage, compassion, curiosity to each experience. Choice and action, I would do this by ... Chapter summary. There are some simple exercises you can do to get some clarity on your values as they are today. Values change over time, and how much we live in line with them can change. So it helps to do a regular values check-in. When we use our values to guide our goal setting, it can help to create our day-to-day purpose. This focus is not on what you want to happen for you, but the kind of person you want to be, the contribution you want to make, and the attitude you want to face with this life, no matter what happens. So, chapter 34, how to create a life with meaning. So what happens when you work out? What is important and what you realize you are not living in line with those values? How do you begin to move in that direction? When we decide it's time for a change, there can be a tendency to come up with a huge radical new goal. For example, let's say you do your values check-in and decide that you need to start looking after your health by exercising. In the next moment, you can start coming up with new goals. Maybe you'll run a marathon, or you'll improve your nutritional intake. But simply having goals is not going to ensure that your life changes and stays changed. What does? That is the everyday details of your repeated behaviors that keep you moving forward in that direction. Your goal might be to complete a marathon, but marathon or no marathon, the life-changing part comes from the things that you put in place to help you get running every day. The running group you join to keep you going, and the ways that in which you gradually increase the distances you cover and the changes you make to your nutritional intake to help. So setting a goal can help you get that initial push in the right direction, but it's also important to remember that at the end of that goal, it is completion is actually a limitation. If you have reassessed your values and you want to move in a new direction based on what matters most to you in life, then you are likely to want to continue in that direction. Many people run a marathon and hang up their running shoes shortly after. The values check-ins are useful to do on a regular basis because of the details of your values may change over time. But it also gives you the chance to focus on the intricate details of the everyday nitty-gritty of how you are living. We get to ask ourselves, what kind of person do I want to be today? And what am I going to do today to step in that right direction? If your identity is going to be the kind of person who looks after their health every day, then that potential to last long after the marathon has come and gone. Working this way is a two-pronged attack. By spending time thinking about and visualizing the person you intend to be and turning those ideas into concrete, sustainable actions, you can begin to change how meaningful those efforts will feel. Change is hard, so having a solid anchor in your clarity about why and a permanent sense of identity, because this is who I am now, helps you to persist when that change inevitably meets resistance from your own mind or the people around you. Over time, once those new ways of thinking and behavioring establish themselves, your beliefs about yourself can begin to shift too. So you genuinely become someone who prioritizes health and fitness, not by the initial goal of running a marathon, but by persisting with a new lifestyle. Exercise becomes something that you do because you identify with it, not because there is a goal to reach. The initial marathon idea almost becomes irrelevant. Overly focusing on the outcome can lead us to quit more easily when we don't see results quickly enough, or when we meet resistance and hurdles along the way. So when you first decide to set a goal, you might be excited about it and that spark of motivation will strike. But that motivation is like a flame on a match. It will burn itself out. It's an unsustainable source of fuel. But if you have a routine of small actions that are not too radical or dramatic to maintain, then your new sense of identity will help you sustain you. Chapter summary. When we decide it's time for a change, there can be a tendency to come up with a huge radical new goal. Simply having a goal is not enough to ensure your life changes and stays changed. Spending time thinking about and visualizing the person you intend to be and turning to those ideas into concrete, sustainable actions can change how meaningful efforts those feel. Linking your intentions to your sense of identity allows the new behaviors to continue way beyond the initial goal.